Welcome, everybody, to our prayer journey with my toad. Today, I'm going to go through a short summary of the book of Leviticus, chapter 18. Probably one of the more controversial books of the Bible as far as the world is concerned. As I pointed out in another video, the Leviticus book is very important to keep a society together and to keep the Jewish people holy before God. So I'm only going to read about 6 or 8 verses, and I know that this book and these, book of Leviticus is very difficult to comprehend sometimes, or to maintain the proper concentration through the book because it gets so detailed. But this chapter is not so detailed, and if you want to read the rest of it on your own, do that, and you make up your own mind of what God is saying here on the areas I did not cover. Okay, so verse 18:1. Now, at this verse, God has pulled Israel out of Egypt, out of the world, and they're separated. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, or the world in our case, wherein you dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall you not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Ye shall do my judgments, and keep my ordinances, to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. What happened with this particular thing here when he's laying out these laws for the Jewish people? God, in a sense, raptured his church out of the world. He took them out of Egypt. And what he does not want to do when he removes them from Egypt is to take Egypt's sins with them. Unfortunately, when we're raptured as the church, we're going to go to heaven, and there's not going to be sin present there. But as God raptured these people, took them out of the land of Egypt, and is placing them in the land of Canaan, that land is filled with the same filth that was in Egypt. So God's telling them, when you go to this new land, live right. Follow what I say. And this gives you some indication of why God acted the way he did in the land of Canaan. It was a horrible land, full with child sacrifices and so many deviations. It is beyond belief. In fact, I would say it would be very similar to when the church is raptured out. That land would be a crazy place to want to live. It would be hell on earth for anybody that wanted to follow anything near what God has laid out for them. So God's warning them. He raptured them out, and he's trying to protect them. He does not want to do what we're going to read now in these next 2 verses. In Leviticus 18:24, defile not yourselves in any of these things. And you can go and read all of these things. There's a lot there, and like I said, there's a lot of controversy in those, although a good Christian knows that that is true. What God said to do, you don't do. For in these nations are defiled, which I cast out before you. So God had cast out these nations before him because they were defiled for doing all of those things. And the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out her inhabitants. Everybody talks about climate change. Well, I shouldn't say everybody. Of course, I know this for a fact. Climate does change. It's changed throughout history. But God's not talking about the climate change here. He's talking about the climate change here, in the heart. There's rapture out, and there is vomit out. When you defile the land morally, and this is a warning to our climate, change friends. When you defile the land morally, God has the land vomit you out. I hate to say that maybe our nation is facing something along these lines. Is God ready to vomit us out because we have left the morality and we're destroying the land? Not so much because of the things we're doing. We're doing the things we're doing because we are defiled already, because we're living immorally. You know, in my town, they just stopped because they couldn't get enough help picking up recyclables. I decided I will drive it to the place and drop them off. But how many other people won't do that because of convenience? You see, they're tied. Morality is tied to that. A good Christian understands that he needs to take care of his land. But the most important thing to do is this: to be morally right with God, to follow his commands, to be led by Jesus Christ. And I don't want to make this a thing on works. Works are necessary to show your faith. But it's really trusting in God that you do not get vomited out. Listen to what it says again. And the land is defiled, therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself will vomit out our inhabitants. There is judgment for being immoral, and God has it built right into the system. So God's telling his people in Moses' day not to defile the land, to live morally right, and do what is right before God. You know, we get another warning in Revelations. He says, you know, you're not hot and you're not cold. I want to vomit you out of my mouth. I want to spew you out because you care nothing for your God. If you know Jesus Christ, be hot for him. Go out and give out the gospel to everybody else. You know, one day, coming soon perhaps, the church will be raptured out. Don't be vomited out. Live for God. Be raptured out. If you do not know Jesus Christ, I have a link in this video that'll show you how you can know for sure that you are saved. The whole purpose of me doing these videos is that you would know Jesus Christ and you would be encouraged to go out and give the gospel to others if you do know him. So until next time, may Jesus increase as we decrease.